So, welcome to our panel on independent publishing. We've got three really experts in self-publishing, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things and try to really demystify self-publishing and talk about the do's and don'ts and talk about what works about it and what doesn't work, talk about the challenges, but also some of the successes. And I think what you'll find as we discuss this, that we all believe, and the reason we're doing this panel, that self-publishing has come a really long way. Are there advantages, you guys, to independent publishing over traditional publishing and traditional agents, particularly today? Lee, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are certainly advantages, and one of them is money. I mean, I make more money from my independent books than I make from my traditionally published books. I'm in romance, so that's a different, even if it's romantic suspense, it's still romance. So that's a different field than, like my colleagues are working in. I don't know how the money is in mystery, but that's one. And then creative control and being able to write more what you want to write, getting the covers that you want to have. And so, there's a lot to be said for independent publishing.
If you're going to do indie publishing, you need to present yourself as a professional. You're a professional writer to the equal of anybody that's out there. Like I said, you have to raise that bar. I still think you have to put out an absolutely stellar product. You actually have to produce something that's even higher quality than the average novel that's out there, because you're going to be judged as an independent publisher.
A pothole that I see a lot of people fall into is having bad covers. And it's because a lot of us fancy ourselves to be artists and we're not. I don't. I have no visual skill whatsoever, so I wouldn't do my own cover. And some people do their own covers and it's beautiful. But if you have a bad cover, your book it's doomed before it even hits the Amazon page, because that's how people make a decision a lot. So careful of those covers.
Yeah.
One of the things with independent publishing, I think that if you're going to go into this world, it definitely might be an advantage if you look at your work for a niche market. What I've seen with like anthologies, I was chapter liaison for Sisters in Crime for a few years, and the anthology sales that we saw were specific to niches. For instance, I believe it was like South Carolina did an anthology where every story had something to do with a historical historical site within South Carolina. Well, you have an automatic market right there, right? Because all of those gift shops are going to stock your book. Right? There's a couple of other smaller presses that are capturing these writers who are, the readers are looking for this mid-range material. And so this is sort of a groundswell coming up.
It's not like people that are sitting in an ivory tower making decisions.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's another, for
another
someone
route,
thinking
really.
of publishing,
That's right.
that's another avenue you may consider is going through a small
press. That's
that
right.
You just submit right to them.
When ebooks first came out, everybody was getting an e-reader, and there was a spike in sales because of that. But I'm seeing that sort of, and I'm hearing that sort of slacked off. I think what happened is it was the novelty of it. Although it is convenient to walk around with an e-reader and have all of your books in one place, I'm hearing that people are going back to print, that they actually like the print in their hands. They like to be able to pick up the book.
For mine, I'll print and buy a whole bunch of copies of my own books when I come out with one, and then I'll do a book signing in a local store.
Yep.
And I'll sell a bunch of books. And every year, Light Up Night, which is the Friday before Thanksgiving, which means I've got a deadline, I do a book signing. I think most of my online sales are ebooks,
Yeah.
Yes.
but the ones I'm doing myself are all paper business.
So I don't do that. So I market a different way. I do much more online. My audience is not centered locally at all. So
I sell my
it's your
books.
choices.
I went to the back to get this. I have 4 copies in all of the different accelerators and incubators of my book in town, because they're all high tech, right? Startups. And I sell my book at everything. I buy them in bulk through CreateSpace, and then I sell them for $10 a book. And I donate the proceeds. So I have a little sign also at Alpha Lab Gear here at Ascender and stuff like that. So you got to think creatively, depending on what your niche market is. But I think, you know, as the dust settles with this field, I think independent publishers that's an emerging trend, right? And that's a big one. And self-publishing, and Amazon is the 900-pound gorilla in that market, is very strong. And if you work it right, I think it can be advantageous.
Thanks for coming. I learned stuff tonight. So,
Yeah, it's always interesting.
it's great.
All right, thank you.